SNB Talkin Sport. I'm your host, Spinksy, and we are back once again for a cracking show again this week. It's nice to have you guys with us again. Ness, it's been a couple of weeks. What have you been up to the last 2 weeks?
Thanks, Binks. Good to see you guys. I'm still in work lockdown, so I'm under the stairs, the home office, Harry Potter style. So I'm going insane. Tomorrow, so thank God I'll get into civilization, which is nice. But a busy few weeks, actually. I had my nephew's 21st on the weekend, and I realised I am no longer 21. And it's while I can party like a rock star, I am not able to recover like one. So it's been a long week, and I have a hens weekend this weekend coming up. So going well.
You and I were out Sunday last week. We're drinking watermelon margaritas.
We were, and I believe I'm being blamed for you being the wagon. So
wagon, yes. It's fine.
Sorry.
These things happen. I'll tell you a story later about Oxford Street over the weekend. So, Mr. Bo Kennett, you are back with us, mate. How was your 2 weeks off been?
Yeah, much like Ness, I was away for a bucks. Shout out to my brother-in-law. He had his bucks last weekend, and it completely broke me all last week. I was a lost soul. I was a small fragment of my actual self. I was hurt. I couldn't talk. I was a mute. It was a bad week, but through the power of Christ, we got here. So I don't know how, but we're still here. It's changed me, let me tell you. I was a broken soul. And then we got the actual wedding next weekend. So how good.
Nice. Very nice. Is that here or is it away?
Yeah, that's here. So we got the wedding is on the Saturday, and then Jess and I fly out to Europe on the Monday.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's gonna fucking hurt.
That's gonna hurt indeed. Well, before we get the show started, I want to say I was an athlete over the weekend, and I ran in the city to surf on Sunday, just gone. So talking 3 or 4 days back now. And what an atmosphere that is. Most of the half marathons I've done here in town have been on a flat track, nice, easy track. You run around the lake here in town or whatever. There's not that many hills. Whereas I decided to challenge myself and do the city to surf, which is only 14K, and I can do that easily. And it turns out, no, I cannot. This was a hilly, horrible run. I got it done in an hour and 40 minutes, which is lovely. I came 27,000 out of like 65,000 folks. So done well. Thank you. Yes, but
top 45%.
That's good.
Top 40%. That's
there was a party. There was a party atmosphere the whole way. There was people dancing and singing and carrying on. There's all music every 500 meters. There's like different bands playing. There was people on their roofs singing and carrying on. It was just a nice atmosphere too. The vibe was unreal. So very happy to mark it off for my list. And so I've got another medal to add to my talent. It's my 4th one this year. So doing well. It's good. Nice.
That is wild. I can't actually, I've said congratulations before, but it just is wild that you've done that many. Good on you.
Thank you, Charles. And as you can see,
you got rocks in your head, but good on you.
Oh yeah, I'm special. I get that. I am. Yes, I am. And I got my new Lakers jersey on, so hopefully the person that got me that jersey, we might one day tie the knot. I don't know.
Fuck, how about that? If you can't look any more like an absolute fanboy, a Lakers jersey and a New York Yankees hat. People are going to hate this. Is that a LeBron jersey too?
Sure is, man. Look at that. Yeah. No, it is.
That's fucking disgusting.
You know it is, man.
You need to have a good look.
Love it.
Oh.
Right,
you should be banished out of this world. Fuck off to Venus or something like that.
Oh, there's two. Nice work. See, that was easy. Right, guys. Look, let's talk about some rugby league at the moment. And sad news this week: the passing away of former Cowboys coach Paul Green. We've spoken about it on the show many times. We've interviewed Mr. Borland from Gotcha for Life. If you guys are struggling with anything at all, reach out to your friends, to your family, to us. You can see our Instagram handles on here. Look, I'll put my phone number up on the screen if I have to. Reach out to someone and talk to them. Look, all of us have gone through hard times in our life, but life gets easier. It really, really does. And I'd much rather have a phone talk with you or a face-to-face talk or anything than have to come to your funeral. So please, if you're struggling at all with anything, reach out and talk to someone, anyone, so that we don't have to keep having this conversation over and over again. Very sad news. It's touched the rugby league world heaps the last 2 weeks or so. I think they're going to have round 22 as the mental health round, if I remember right, which I think is next weekend. So it'd be good for them to start having these conversations a bit more instead of just trying to be the tough man that everyone expects you to be. So yes, but
I'll butt in if I can. Just
go for it.
Sorry, I'll butt in. I'm pretty open about. I went through a pretty shitty time, a bit of a bad mental. I was in a bad mental place for a while, so I'm pretty open about what I went through and all that. But it's really easy to say if you're feeling like if you're in a dark place, a shit place, and reach out. But the truth is, more often than not, if you're in the dark place, like it's a bit too late. Like if you're in a dark place, you know you are, but the last thing you want to do is just give someone a call. It's just not how we work. It's not how the brain really works. It's probably better on if you feel it coming on before you're actually in the dark place. It's best to reach out, even if you aren't actually on that trajectory where you're going to become, you're going to find yourself in a bit of curry. So if it's something that never actually comes on board, it doesn't reach that level, but you feel like it might, that's probably your best opportunity to actually reach out. And like Spinks has said, our Instagram handles are up there. Anyone can slide into a DM, but if there's just a bit of education more around preventing yourself from getting to the bad place where everyone's going to reach out, but if we can prevent getting to that level, I think everyone else is. That's probably the way forward, in my opinion, anyway.
Very well said, mate.
Yeah. I think you both nailed it, and I think it's to Bo's point is checking in on people, and that's exactly right. Like sometimes you don't reach out, but I think it's our role to just check in on people every now and then, and things can be isolating and people can feel a bit alone. So I think it's our job as friends and people that have friends and family to check in on them and check that they are doing okay and ask the question and force that out of them. Sometimes I think that's the best way.
Yeah, it's hard to. Yes. All right, we've got that.
100%. And you really find, oh, sorry, mate.
Hey, right, you go. All good. Okay.
You really do find out, because I was pretty open when I was in a shitty spot. So I was pretty open about it. And you quickly learn that there is actually a lot of really good people out there that will have a chat to you, and they'll kind of check in on you every few days or every week or so. And you really do find out that there's some good people out there. So if you are feeling shitty, do put it out there.
Now, speaking of people that are feeling shitty, the Newcastle Knights are going through somewhat of a hard time at the moment. Two of their stars, Kalen Ponga, who has signed a massive contract, and Kurt Mann as well, who is injured at the moment, and as Ponga is injured as well. The two of them have been filmed being escorted out of a toilet cubicle together. Clearly, they were in there because one of them was being sick and he was just trying to hold his mate's hair back as he was throwing up in the toilet. Is that the case?
The best thing about this is we just went through the whole debacle of the pride jerseys and everything like that. That was only just last week. Now the NRL is going to have an issue with two blokes getting a bit close to one another. Play on to them. Let the boys cross swords. Whatever they're doing, that's fair play. We can't just celebrate this Pride Week Pride jersey and then not encourage two blokes just getting a bit close.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's good. I'll give you that.
There's interesting ways that you commiserate last place when you play for the Knights. And this is obviously actually no. In fairness, they're not last. So there you go.
Maybe they were using
Oh,
a wooden
no.
spoon.
Yeah, we won't even. Oh, good on the boys. Let them play.
Let them play through. Yes, we might never find out exactly what happened in that toilet, but I'm sure the boys are up to no good. So we'll find out again soon. Maybe. The top 8 is pretty much sorted at the moment, guys. The Raiders here in Canberra, as we all know, they're a sniff of a chance to finish in that top 8. Everyone is still giving them a chance, but shit has to go sideways for the Broncos or the Roosters for that to happen. But the top 8 is pretty much sorted. Am I right?
Yep.
So, Ness,
Correct.
the two of us.
Yep. Raiders need to win their last 3 games.
And I think the Broncos have to lose all 3. So, Ness, you and I will have teams
And
in
the
the
Roosters,
finals this year, and Bo, you are escaping the country to go to Europe because your team is not there.
I think I'll be Bo in the first week of the final.
Nice. And as we know here,
No, I
you go.
sorry, mate. My internet's doing all sorts on me. So all the listeners out there were just hearing us talk over each other. That's my bad. But somehow do direct it towards Spinks. He deserves the hate more than I do. No, but I got something nice to say once again about the Roosters. I'd say right now, Roosters and Souths are the 2 best teams in the competition. Are they not?
For fuck! What? It's smoking.
Tell me they're not. They're the most informed by a country mile.
Souths and the Sharks are the 2 most informed teams in the comp.
I don't even pay him to say. He's just saying it off his board.
These 2 obviously had a talk off air earlier about how they were going to come down on me tonight.
It's just no one like the Sharks or the Lakers. Yeah.
Unbelievable. The last piece of rugby league news we have this week before we move on is about our man here in Canberra, Ricky Stewart. Ricky Stewart came out 2 weeks ago and called Jalen Salmon a weak-gutted dog for his performance when he kicked one of the Raiders guys in the nether regions and caused himself to be sent off. Sorry, he wasn't even sent off. He was on report for that. Stewart came out in the press conference after the game and called Salmon a weak-gutted dog. Now, Ricky should know about weak-gutted dogs because he sends 17 of them out there every single week.
That's impressive.
That's again.
Maybe 16. I don't mind. Jackie Wine's a hell of a footy player. He doesn't need to be paid out.
Look, he's come back again. Ricky's had the week off. The Raiders got the last gasp win over the Dragons to keep their season alive, but they'll go down this week, so it doesn't really matter there. Moving our attention to...
In all honesty, don't we secretly love the whole Ricky Stewart, whatever's happening there? It's like it's a little bit of drama. We got something that never really happens. The coaches don't really speak out of mind. We're so used to just anyone that's in the sporting world or coaches or whatever, we're so used to them being so well media trained that they're just a fucking robot. So I kind of liked it. It's pretty disgusting what he said, but at least we got a bit of drama out of it.
I think he's an exception to the rule, though. I think he and Wayne Bennett probably are right up there. Like you have others that sort of toe the line, but Ricky Stewart's pretty vocal more times than not.
He's wild.
Maybe it's just our media room at the stadium that's just copped a pounding over the years.
Right. You good? Right. You good now? You got that? Yeah, you got right. All right. See, I have it. Ricky can be a very difficult man at times. And I think the Raiders stick with Ricky because they don't have a lot of other options. The Raiders constantly stick with the coach for way too long. This team has underperformed for a very long time. A couple of years back, they were in the grand final and that they had it all. And now they've fallen off the wagon again and will miss the 8. They're either all or nothing. Surely a change has to be made, and that has to start with him or Don Ferner or someone else, but someone needs to change in that organization. Otherwise, they're just going to be a mediocre team for the rest of their life. That's just me.
I'd fucking take mediocre at the moment, let me tell you.
Would they? You would actually take mediocre. Nice. Righto, let's turn our attention to the women's NFL, the women's Outback team, the Australian team. They went over to Finland to play in the Women's World Championships. We touched on it the first week that they were over there. The girls got beaten by Canada. They also got beaten by Mexico 34-6. So they played in the finals for the team to finish 7th and 8th, and they went on to beat Sweden 7-0. Now, though a few of the kicks that we have here in town, they were in the team, as well as your former coach, Josh. Have you heard any news about how they're all going? I've followed the girls on Instagram. They're traveling through Europe at the moment. It looked like they're having the time of their lives over there.
Yeah, they do. They look like they have an absolute ball, and all that does is get me excited for my trip. Yep. But yeah, I've reached out to both Josh and Grace, so both have agreed they're going to come on the pod, have a chat to us, tell us just about. Josh will probably talk more about the ACT gridiron, and Grace will tell us all about her experience and how the World Cup was for her, and that's going to be a blast. I look forward to that.
Yeah. Very nice. Now, it's been known on this show that we don't talk a lot of AFL, so I'm going to give you a couple of insights into AFL. Now, I'm a massive Sydney Swans fan. The problem is, the reason I don't follow the Swans all season is because the Swans are usually going to finish top 8 because they're such a good side. So here we are a week out from the finals. The Swans have moved into second on the ladder. So now it's my time to jump back on the Swans wagon and become a Swans fan again as we approach the finals. As we know, I was in Sydney over the weekend for the City to Surf because I'm an athlete. And we were staying in the same hotel as the Collingwood Magpies. And we were staying on College Street, which is across the road from Hyde Park and opposite Oxford Street, and we were kept awake for most of the night by sirens, and there was a shooting. Some dude got stabbed. It was just Sydney to a T, right? So I reckon I woke up every hour and a half, and Collingwood was staying in the same hotel as us. So I woke up in the morning and dropped to 50 on the Swans to win the game, because I knew the Swans were sleeping at home comfortably in their nice warm beds with their wives or their husbands, whatever. But Collingwood had to sleep in this shitty ass hotel I was in, and they would have been kept awake all night. Sure enough, the Swans won by like 40 points. So big ups to Swans and big ups to Sportsbet, who gave me my money. Thank you.
The AFL is really interesting, right?
Yeah, what they give you, like $70?
85. Thank you.
I actually decided to do a little bit of research into the AFL because Spinks is right. We never talk about it. But Geelong are clear 8 points. And then so the Swans, Melbourne, Brisbane, Collingwood are all on 60 points. So it's actually a pretty epic weekend to see who actually makes it into that, top 2, top 4 would be really interesting. But yeah, it's just classic that a Swan supporter comes out now. I'm still trying to find a team, to be honest. Like I sort of support the Giants. When I just can't do it, Spinks. It's like supporting Switch. Like it's no.
Support the Roosters and Liverpool. You've jumped on more bandwagons than anyone else. Oh, you're one of the Swans.
They're good teams. But the Giants actually play the Dockers at Manuka Oval. So if you're looking for something to do on Saturday, Manuka Oval is where you should be.
The Wallabies have been absolutely trounced by Argentina, 48-17. It was Argentina's biggest win over the Aussies in their short history. We won the first game, 41-26, and then got rolled in the second. We've now got 2 games against the Springboks this weekend and next weekend before we get thrashed by New Zealand 2 weeks in a row. So shout out to the Wallabies. Hopefully you guys can get some wins over the world champion Springboks before we get rolled by New Zealand. So, yeah, it's good. The other thing, one of the greatest rugby league stars of all time has turned his attention to the ring. Paul Gallen has been probably the best former NRL dude turned boxer. He has decided in September next month he's going to fight 2 blokes on the same night. However, the 2 guys he's fighting are Justin Hodges and Hannay, who used to be with the Broncos. So he's fighting two guys who are nobodies at all. And he's marketing this. It's the first time in 130 years since one guy has fought two blokes on the same night, right? But he's going to kick both their asses. How about you fight two blokes at the same time? Throw them in the ring, two blokes same time, make it happen. Why not? Why not, man? Like he's fighting.
Man, he played footy in Cronulla. I'm sure he has done that plenty. But...
Yeah, exactly. In the show.
Yeah, I just don't like. I know it's going to sell tickets, and I'll watch it, but I just can't see how he'll probably fight Hodges first. It'll be over in 2 rounds, maybe, and that's not going to hurt Gallen going into the second fight. It just seems stupid. Like if you're going to fight two blokes, fight two decent dudes, you know? Yeah. It's weird. Yes, but this is our last topic before we go to the good, bad, and ugly. You guys have got heaps of insight into the fight at the moment in the Formula One between Daniel Ricciardo and Oscar Pistori about who gets what seat next year. Which one of you wants to go first? How about it?
Let Ness go.
Look, it's a bit wild. I guess it has been a few weeks since we've been on the pod, but Alpine, for some context, Alpine released a statement that Piastri will drive for them in 2023. And he comes out the next morning and says, yeah, sorry, guys, that's actually not happening. I haven't signed with them. So pretty awkward if you're in the PR department of Alpine in Formula One at the moment. So then the Formula One world just goes into absolute overdrive. Lots of chat about McLaren and whether Daniel Ricciardo loses his seat. No one's sort of confirming or denying anything. And obviously Ricciardo's been pretty vocal over the last couple of months to say he doesn't intend to leave McLaren. So really it's hard to sort of see, you know, who actually will leave. There's sort of gaps in Alpine, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Williams and Haas. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, they're the gaps for both Piastri and if Ricciardo leaves, where, you know, what happens and where they'll go. I don't know. My gut is telling me that I think if Ricciardo wasn't leaving McLaren, then we would probably know that by now. Like we've obviously heard rumblings, but he was pretty vocal to come out and say, you know, I want to stop the rumors or whatever. He hasn't done that in this situation. So for me, I think there's kind of continuing conversations on that. I just don't love the fact that an Australian driver is potentially going to kick out another Aussie driver. So yeah, good to have both of them on the grid, but Bo, I don't know. I really, really don't know where this goes.
No, your take was very interesting, but lucky for us and for the viewers, I actually do know what's going to happen. I've got this thing, I can see the future. Don't know if you guys know it yet, but I dare say, so McLaren is going to owe Ricciardo $20 million. That's his contract. Whether he's got a seat or not, he's going to get paid. The thing, what I think is going to happen, McLaren happens to have an IndyCar team, right? He might follow, I think he's going to follow Grosjean, and he'll go into the IndyCar, probably race for McLaren there. If not, potentially he can go NASCAR. He's Australian. Maybe he can get into the V8 supercars, but definitely I think Ricciardo's, unfortunately, he's going to lose his seat. And it is pretty shitty that Oscar's getting a bit of backlash from the media, or at least from the Ricciardo fanboys. Just he's got to look after himself, I suppose. And as a business, which is all F1 is, and it's a very, very expensive business, McLaren can get Oscar in a seat for apparently somewhere between 1 to 5 million. So that's a lot cheaper for them. So if they can ship him off to another racing style, then I guess that's where everyone wins. But I don't guess, actually. I know that's how, and I know that's what's going to happen. Daniel Ricciardo's gone. He's racing in a different car next year.
So if they send him to Indy or to NASCAR, they still pay out his 20?
Yeah, 21 mil.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine just because it's still a McLaren, he's still under a McLaren franchise, or McLaren is still his boss, then potentially they can just transfer that money into his new deal. So he'll still get his money, and he'll have a car to race in. That's what's going to happen. You heard it here first.
Heard it here first, folks. Very nice.
Well, all I do know on the F1 is that the dates for Melbourne got released yesterday, and I have flights and accommodation. I just need a ticket. So we are on.
Are you heading down on your own, or are you staying with someone else?
I'm staying in the city with my mate Paige.
I thought you were staying out in the.
Is that Ness pleading the fifth?
The fifth. Right, let's move on quick.
A lot of steam in here tonight. Fire out.
It's hot under the stairs in the. It's time for the good, bad.
Well played.
Ness, you've got the good. What do you have for us this week?
Good grief. You two are in trouble tonight. It feels like an eternity ago, but Australia did dominate the Com Games. So I guess just to recap on a few really cool things that happened in the Com Games. The cricketers had a win. The hockey, both women and men's, had a massive win. Rowan Browning, although sort of chunked it in the 4x100. And if you haven't seen that footage, I really feel sorry for that guy who stacked it and we failed to make the final. But he did really well in the 100. We had some really good results, and we always have decent results. Obviously, Emma McKeon in the pool, and good to see us on track and in some of the field events doing really well as well. But it is really good, and it would be remiss of me not to mention the Diamonds, who reclaimed top spot in the world. And we lost by 1, and I spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, but I witnessed the craziness that was losing to England 4 years ago, and really nice to see Australia winning by 4 goals, this time against Jamaica. It was an ugly, ugly game, and at no point did we really look overly comfortable, but first win for Liz Watson as captain, first win for Stacey Marinkovic at the Com Games, and for 4 of the Diamonds who were hurting after that loss, a really good outcome. So as well as it's really, I guess it's really good, obviously, for Australia to reclaim number 1 in the world again. There's some really cool shout outs, like Jamaica making a final and knocking out New Zealand and England is massive. And Uganda came 5th. So this is like Uganda, who have about 100 people that play netball. They're making a Commonwealth Games, top 6. And what we're seeing is a lot of the Aussie coaches going over to help. So I really love this, and I think it's the only way for the sport to progress and develop. We've talked a lot on the show about how they're financially in a lot of trouble. That's Netball Australia. But internationally, I think it's such a good thing for the expertise from Australia, who have constantly been in 1 or 2 in the world, to share that love across with the other countries. So pretty cool. And then off the back of the Commonwealth Games win, the Diamonds have qualified first. They've cemented their spot as number 1 in the world. So Australia 1, New Zealand 2, Jamaica 3, and England falling to 4th position, but qualified for the 2023 World Cup. So let's hope we can bring home that gold as well.
Do you want to talk about the text message that you sent me on the eve of the final between Australia and Jamaica, and what team you predicted was going to win?
I said Jamaica would win, right?
You did. Yes, you did.
Yeah, no, I did.
You are un-Australian.
I know. Realistic.
Wow.
I back the Aussies just anyway. Yeah.
I'll also tell you, if the Roosters make the final, that we won't win it. That's just what I'll do. I know. It's not that I don't want them to. I just look at the reality. Like, I'm realistic. I'm not just a fan that jumps.
You don't back the Roosters, and they're great. Also, is Liz Watkins the lady I sent you on the TikTok?
No, that was Helen Housby from England. I love me some Helen Housby. That's one.
She's the best player in the world, hands down. And if you think otherwise, you just don't know your netball.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
One way to make you guys watch netball. Whatever works.
Thanks, bro. That's right. Mr. Bo Kennett, you've got the bad, mate. What do you have for us this week?
I do have the bad. And you guys might actually love it. It's football related, like soccer related. So have you seen what's happening with Kylian Mbappe? Yeah, so he's become a fucking nightmare to his own team. And that's just what made me think that how many times in sport do we see someone get either like a big contract or they get everything that they want and potentially it can just their career can fall apart. So to me, I'm going to jump the gun early and say this is probably the beginning of the end for a guy that went from literally hero in the World Cup to now probably one of the most hated players. And I think from what I can gather, it's bringing all the sporting world together. So all the Messi fans, the PSG fans, the haters, all that are now getting together because they've got one main thing and we are all hating on Mbappe. So getting your guys' opinion on it more, is that something that's going to happen? Is this a tragic downfall? Could this be a much bigger problem?
Yeah, look, I've been looking at this heaps lately. He was massive in the World Cup for France about 4 years ago, maybe, because I think he's only 22 now. So that must have been 4 years ago. So he was, I think he was 18 at the time, and he was just a sensation. I'm not sure if they went on to win the World Cup that year or they're up there, but he's turned into somewhat of a baby. He got the massive deal that he wanted at home, and he's huge over there, and he's just turned into somewhat of a sook, and he's just doing everything he can to try to tarnish the reputation that he has. And I know he's only young still, but he has the potential to be one of the greatest we've ever seen if he just focuses on the sport instead of wanting to play somewhere else. And I think it really shows the kind of the maturity that he doesn't necessarily have at that age. So look, hopefully he gets the right people around him and can sort of show that he can be more than just this, because at the moment the world hates him.
So from what I know, like PSG's basically giving him the keys to the franchise, right? Where he makes management decisions and who can come, who can go, and yuck. That's a lot on a 22-year-old.
Yeah, and look, I think it's the way you look at it here in Australia is the money the Knights paid for Kalen.
Fuck. Almost worth the whole $10 million cap. It should be just.
I love you guys. That's the best. Yeah, look, I think he's in trouble. I think he needs to sort of focus more on what he can do on the field instead of trying to be an asshole off it. Yeah, it sucks. Hopefully he gets the support around him that he needs, because at the moment it's just going bad. Look,
very bad.
He could turn this around at the World Cup in like 8 weeks time, whatever, and be a superstar and be happy again. So yes, look, guys, look, I've got the ugly this week. I want to talk about the NRL potentially moving the grand final to Suncorp Stadium instead of it being in Sydney. I feel Sydney is the home of rugby league, has been for a number of years now. I know Suncorp Stadium stepped in last year when the borders were shut, and we moved it up there to Suncorp. But I feel Sydney is the home. Like, even if it's two Queensland teams that are in it, Sydney's been the home of rugby league this entire time. Do you guys think that we should be moving this around each year, or the largest stadium in the country should have it? What do you think?
I'm still salty as fuck that the pricks got all 3 origins and then the grand final. Like, how much more do we want to give it?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, keep it here, please.
Thank you. Yes.
I am far too close to this, so I'll
Oh yes, you are. Sorry.
I'll stand by Bo. But look, I think after this to Spinks earlier, and granted the Cowboys, the Storm, and the Broncos are all in the top 8, but the rest of them are New South Wales teams, and I do actually think that, similar, like, we kind of feel like the AFL Grand Final should be at the MCG. I do really think that the NRL Grand Final should be in New South Wales.
Yeah.
That, I think Queensland have done it. They did a sensational job of the Origin. Credit where credit's due, and obviously helping, during COVID times. But yeah,
I agree. Yes, stay there. So they said that they would announce it at 5 o'clock this afternoon. I haven't announced it as yet, as far as I can see. So hopefully that final stays in Sydney. But it is a dick swinging competition between the Premier of Sydney, Dominic Perrottet, Ace of Wales, and Billy Andes, who runs the NRL, to see who has the most money and what they're willing to do with it. So I think at the moment it's who backs down first. So yeah, but look, that's it for the good, bad, and ugly. Coming up next week, guys, the NRL only has 3 rounds left. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in to see all your teams win their games, and the AFL is into their final week. There's a massive round in the AFL this weekend. The Formula One still has about 2 weeks off, I believe, before that gets back underway again. But the greatest show on earth, the NFL and the college football are back, baby. Let's go. NFL has had some preseason games. There has been talk about everything. Deshaun Watson, is he suspended? Is he not? Is he in? Is he out? The quarterback for the Jets has just had knee surgery. He is screwed. The Jets are striking again. They're in trouble as always. The Cowboys are looking terrible in preseason, as they do every single year. It's back. The rumors are flying around, and I cannot get enough of it. So if you're worried about what to watch when the NRL and the AFL end, tune in to your American sports, because it is going off.
The best sport in the goddamn world. And I've given Ness all the credit for the Roosters, and now it's time to give credit to you, Spinksy. I'm team the Cowboys. I always think that they're going to be a good team. I'm just as annoying as the actual Cowboys fans. I think you've got a great team on paper. You're in a shitty division. I'm fully on the Cowboys. You're going to be all right.
Are you? I'm scared now. You okay?
This is what I go through.
Are you okay,
Don't be
man?
scared. In the stars.
Let's go. All right, we'll be all back next week, and this is all of us will be back next week, all 3 of us, and that's your last show before you go off to Europe. Is that right? I missed that. Damn it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you'll be back next week.
Oh,
Next week will be your last show.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got so confused then. I'll tell you what happened when we finished recording. Sorry, my mind. Yeah.
All right. That's all we have time for this week. We'll see you next week. Hooroo.
Take care, bro. Yeah.
Take care, bro.